Hey everyone, Josh Galvin with Tizish.com, and I'm doing a quick tutorial on the common mistakes real estate agents make with their blogging. And there's obviously a dozen different ways this can go, but I want to keep the conversation right now for this quick tutorial focused on read usability errors that a lot of real estate agents make with their blogging. So let's just jump to the point and I'll show you what I mean. I'm not going to go into marketing mistakes, but more usability mistakes. So here's an example blog post that I had just put together on one of our demo sites. Here's our demo site. I just put this together just as an example because I didn't want any one agent to feel like I was picking on them, especially since this video is going to be saved. So I put up together this fake article, but it reflects the same errors. So anyhow, here's a few things with this article that are just really wrong, that not wrong, but just that aren't efficient for helping a reader stay on your page and want to read your whole article. So here I'm going to go through them in overview, then we'll go through each point how to fix them. Alright, now first put yourself in a buyer or seller or just someone interested in real estate's shoes and they come to your site. Okay, how do people use the internet? How do you use a website when you go to an article? What do you usually do? You look at the title and then you might see you might look for images and you might look for other points. The whole point being you scan the article. Everyone scans articles. So this article is really bad in that it's not possible for me as a consumer, a visitor to your site, to scan it and get what I want, to find out what is this about. I had to read a lot and it looks like so much work, so you're making me think. So that right there is the big mistake that all agents make. They make their visitors think. So the big mistake that's happening is you guys, for not all agents, but whoever's doing blogging, it's awesome that you're blogging, you're doing content, but now start focusing on how do you keep your visitors wanting to read your items? How do you make them not think? And this is what I'm going to cover, these formatting errors. So let's just go into them. I'm going to show you on this blog post in an overview way. Here's what they are. First of all, the first mistake is the format is hard to read, meaning look at how big these paragraphs are. They need to be split up into smaller, more scannable chunks. Even this one, it's big. No more than 3 to 4 lines is ideal for blogging paragraphs. It just makes it easier to read. Alright? And then the next item is no headings. I'll explain what headings are, but basically headings are other little titles that let you know what the next paragraphs are about and so forth. Alright? And then the next mistake is, we talked about spacing, formatting, same thing actually. There's no images or video, which means you're having an image on your site actually increases readership by, I'm not a statistician, I forgot the percentage, I read this a while ago, but somewhere by, I think it was like 30 to 50% more likely you're going to get someone staying on your page longer, and it reduces the bounce rate of your site, of your page, which means more people are going to stay on it and they end up clicking another link because they liked your article, because they ended up reading it. And the reason why they read it is because an image kind of makes them want to stay. Think of a magazine you read. When you read magazines, imagine if magazines had no images and they were just all articles, they wouldn't get a lot of readership. The images capture a buyer or a consumer or visitor's attention and makes them want to stay for the rest. So you need to do that with yours. We'll do that fix here. And this other one is more, these last two are SEO related. There's no SEO, which means there's no focus on keywords at all. So you're not really helping your website rank for long tail keywords or just rank for search engine traffic, which is kind of not a good idea since it's like free traffic you could get just by putting some keywords in. And then second, you use too many tags and categories. Here are the categories. Obviously ignore the content because the content is just made up, but look at all these categories. There's about 7 or 8 categories this is in. Your blog postings should be completely precise and exact. They should fit in the exact category they're in, and they shouldn't be, there's no way one article can belong to like 8 or 9 categories. You're diluting your focus. And now let's talk about tags, same thing. Here's all the tags to the article. Having like 16 tags isn't helpful at all. It's not helpful to your reader, and it's not helpful for any search engine marketing, any SEO work you do. Having this many tags creates duplicate content issues, and then on top of that, to your readers, it doesn't really have a benefit. Let's say I really like this. It's about your first home feelings. Let's say I really like this as a visitor, as a consumer, and basically I want to see more articles related to this. Well, this is making me think a lot. It's like, which category do I pick? Because you don't really know which one's directly related to this. And same thing with tags. Which tag do I pick that's exactly related to this article? So that's the whole point. Let me go over now fixing all these exact errors. So not even errors, but issues. So I'm going to go edit this test post, and here's how we would fix it. Let's go through each point one by one. Alright, so I'm here at the article. Alright, so here I am at the article. Now let's go back through each of these points one by one and fix them again. So here we go. Format is hard to read. With this had to do with spacing. So let's erase that, and now let's fix the spacing. Here's what would make the spacing look good. Separating some sections, just like this. Especially towards the intro. You want them to read the beginnings more than anything. And now let's see. I'm just choosing random spots, by the way. Just to show you how it looks when it's read, when it's divided clean in a clean way. Okay, so we're almost there. So now we just now fixed the spacing, and now let's add headings because this has no headings. All right, so here's what headings are. Headings are basically mini titles for your paragraph. So let's just say this is our heading. And I'm going to use duplicate headings just because this is a demo, a test, an example article, of course. But just to illustrate the point, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so here we have headings in now, and then now let's do the next item, which is no images or video. Okay, so now let's see what this article looks like when we add an image. And I'm hoping you're following where I'm going with this, because I'm going to show you the before and after, and you're going to be surprised on how different they are going to look. And I'm going to ask you the question, as a visitor to this site, which article would you actually enjoy reading? So I just added this image, and now the final item is fixing the SEO, which is putting in your keywords. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but basically you want to put your keywords in your title, your headings, the beginning of your paragraphs if you can, and then at the endings. And there's actually way more to that, but just as a quick overview, that's what you want to do. So see this one with Pepperwood City Real Estate. So if this is the city, then if Pepperwood City is your city, then I'm going to try to think of how to incorporate lowest prices in. Instead of saying the area, I'll say in Pepperwood City. Instead of saying area, what a deal right under my nose. I would say what a Pepperwood City deal right under my nose. And then your first, and this one was going to be kind of hard. So I'd have to be creative, and I'd have to just do something clever. So let's say instead of saying your first home feelings, I might say, your first home feelings from a buyer of a Pepperwood City home. Obviously, I'm just pulling that out of the air, but anyhow. So here we go. The next item is post tags. What we want to do is erase all the tags that aren't directly related to what this article is about. You need to have tags that are precise. You need tags that are exactly about the article itself. So if this was an article itself, what would be a tag? Home buyer experience. That's all this is about. So let's just add one tag, or maybe a second one, the home buying process. See, these two would relate to your first home feeling type of concept. So that's everything. Now let's see what this article looks like when we actually update it and compare it. Alright, so here we are with the new post. Here's the new post as it looks. See that we have our title, it's clean, it's more precise. We didn't change the categories, but just remember that. I didn't change it because our demo site is set up specific. And then we have right here our headings. Much more easier to read. Small paragraphs. I would probably still make these smaller, but it really depends. See the headings right here, it's easier to read, scan. Here's our next heading. So it makes it easy to read. And now our tags, it's just one or two. And they're directly related to our article. So that's what I would do. And the image makes a difference as well, because it makes you want to look and see what the heck is that. I would probably move the image to the left instead of being next to your icons if you have these. But anyhow, that's all these tips, and the main point, compare this now to the original one, which one would you rather read if you came across this site? This article here or this article here? You know, it's pretty obvious that this one stands out more and makes you actually want to see what it's about. It seems more compelling. Okay, so just formatting your articles right is going to help you a lot. And actually, it will include a link with this tutorial to one of the tutorials that I've done that shows, it's a free one. It's one of our member training center ones. I'll show you guys you guys could get free access to, that shows you how to format. I go in way more detail. This is a little snippet. I go into way more detail on how to format your blog postings best for copywriting, for usability, and so forth. So that's everything, you guys. Comment, let me know if you have any questions on our fan page at facebook.com/Tizish. All right, talk to you guys soon. Take care.